And joining us now is Republican Congressman Michael Grimm of New York. Welcome, sir. I get the fact that in policy terms you may object to the Affordable Care Act. I get that. But can you explain to our audience what the horror of genocide, the murdering of 6 million people, what has that got to do with the Affordable Care Act?
Well, I wouldn't even attempt to draw that conclusion.
So what is going on in this man's mind?
Listen, I've been outspoken on this. I completely disagree with the senator and his comments. And it's, again, this is not helping the debate. It is not helping the Republican Party, and it is preventing us from governing. And that's what I came to Washington to do. So this is a problem for the Republican Party. It's been coming. It's somewhat overdue. It's boiling over. But we need to confront this head on. Senator Ted Cruz does not represent the views of mainstream Republicans, and that's just the reality.
But, Congressman, here's the problem. Mr. Cruz is on the front page of every national newspaper today. He's the lead story on every broadcast, and he is regarded as the leader of your party this week.
Well, and
he's the face of it.
You're 100% right. And again, that's why this is such a big challenge for the Republican Party. That's why, my leadership has such a difficult time. When you have someone that is going to say outrageous things, they're going to be on the front page. So to deal with that effectively is not an easy thing to do. It's a serious challenge that we have to take on.
You've been a Marine. Can you imagine managing an individual like that, who behaves like that?
Well, not in my Marine Corps, no. I mean, discipline is part of being a Marine. It's part of our code. It's part of our training.
I thought it was part of your party. I thought discipline was part of the Republican Party.
Well, sure, but I would say Senator Ted Cruz is much more of a libertarian than he is a Republican, and that's again a challenge for the Republican Party is that we have many libertarians that run under the banner of Republican, but they are not historically Republicans. They don't consider themselves true Republicans. They consider themselves libertarians. So, I think Senator Cruz is a libertarian, and I think that he has views that represent maybe 13% of our country, but certainly not mainstream America, especially independents that don't really consider themselves Republican or Democrat. They're Americans that want to see our country do well, and they want to see Congress govern. What does governing mean? It means sitting down rationally, pragmatically, and making a deal that makes this country a better place to live. And that's not happening as long as we have Senator Cruz railing the way he is.
But this isn't the first time, because you'll remember that Senator Cruz attended a fundraiser in New York City in May, mere months after he opposed the Sandy relief bill. So this is a man who would have denied your constituents, people that you represent, people who lost loved ones and whose homes were destroyed, he would have denied them relief.
Oh, no question, and I was outspoken on that as well. And, there's an example. You mentioned Sandy. I still have people that are devastated, people that are not back in their homes, businesses that have not been opened. And what I would like to see in this package is, and I think something Democrats could support, is delaying the premium increases that are about to happen in flood insurance. That, right, I think should be delayed. I've been very outspoken on that.
Rather than the Affordable Care Act, that's what should be delayed.
Well, I will say this. There are issues with the Affordable Care Act that we do need to discuss.
But going back to that principle of insurance hike, that's an issue that affects people, isn't it? That's what people like you and people like him should be doing in the House.
Well, there's no question. I think that's a very important issue. And I would like to see, listen, I also think that when Senator Cruz takes such a hard line, it's preventing the Democrats from coming to the table with reasonable offers to make some compromise. It wouldn't be fair for Republicans to just roll over and do whatever Democrats want. That's why we have a two-party system, and that's called governance, is when you sit down and work things out. So they have to come to the same table with something. But right now they're not coming to the table at all because they see the Republicans taking, Senator Ted Cruz Republicans, taking such a hard line that's doesn't seem reasonable to the American people, so it's easier for them to almost let us shoot ourselves in the foot.
Okay. Earlier this week and on this network, you said, and I'm quoting you said, put up or shut up. Well, he didn't shut up. He didn't shut up for 21 hours.
That's correct.
Are you prepared to put up with him as your potential presidential nominee in 2016?
Well, no, he would not be my pick. I would not support Senator Cruz for the Republican nominee.
Why else did he do that?
Oh, there's no question. Listen, this is all about Senator Cruz. This is a charade. First of all, it wasn't a true filibuster. I mean, I applaud anyone that can stand there for 21 hours. I'll give him that credit for that. But this was a charade because it was already set by the rules that it was not going to be a filibuster because debate would end at 12 noon, I believe it was. So he knew that he was not going to be able to filibuster this. So this was all about Ted Cruz. This is about enhancing, forwarding his agenda and his career. And maybe it's a 2016 run, maybe it's selling another book. That I don't know, nor do I really care. What I care about is how is it hurting my party, number one, and more importantly, how is it hurting our country? Because this is polarizing us even more. We need to start to come together as Americans because I think the average person on the street cares about how we move forward as a nation. How are we going to rebuild our infrastructure and get people back to work? That's what's important. That's what I'm focused on. I'm focused on getting people back in their homes that have been devastated by Sandy. Those that have been out of work for a long period of time, let's find them a job. Let's work together to do that. That's called governing. That's responsibility. That's what we're here to do.
Maybe you could ask one of your commanding officers to give him a thrashing. Congressman Michael Grimm.